Assalamu alaikum, good evening. We are back and a very warm welcome to the fourth episode of Lockdown Life. Um, we're discussing a very special and interesting category, youth marketing. We've just introduced it this year among the category list. And among the guest finalists, I have brands which are loved by all marketers. These are brands of millennials and Gen Z. And we will see what marketing strategies these teams have developed to bring them into the limelight of being the finalist. Let me introduce you to the brand representatives today. We have with us Shadman Khan. He's representing Telenor Pakistan. And he's going to discuss his campaign gaming vertical. He's looking after brands and digital content. Assalamu alaikum, Shadman.
Walaikum assalam, Afshin. Hello, everyone. How are you?
So next we have with us Nimra Khan. She is the marketing manager, Walls. She's looking after, she's going to discuss with us her Cornetto Cupidity Summer Love campaign, which is among one of the finalists. And she's representing Unilever Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum, Nimra.
Assalamualaikum. I hope you guys are all fine and keeping safe.
Yeah, welcome to the show. And then we have Ayman Bashir. She is the brand manager in Nescafe and she's representing Nescafe Pakistan. And her brand campaign is Nescafe Basement. Assalamu alaikum, Ayman.
Assalamu alaikum, Afshin. Kaise hain aap?
Good. Welcome to the show, all of you. And now, of course, we have our juror with us, a very own Ali Mustansir. Not only Ali has been on the jury panel for years, in fact, he was the chairman past for 2 tenures. Dynamic marketer for over 30 years, where starting his career with Unilever, he has managed to launch, relaunch, and turn around a lot of brands under his name. From FMCGs to banking sector, he was named as the Asia's most influential CMO by World Brand Congress in 2015. And I can go on and on. He's now a passionate brand consultant, owner and director and CEO Media Logic. Assalamu alaikum, Ali. I hope you're with us. He was having some issues with his internet. Okay, so he's not with us at this point in time. They're trying to get in touch. Okay, so guys, with this COVID and lockdown, मुझे बताएं, how is it going? एक तो we are representing all cities of Pakistan at this point in time. So Ayman is from Lahore, then we have Namra in Karachi and Shadman from Islamabad. So is the situation any different or you're facing the same kind of lockdown? Please, office have started, mostly 80% लोग जा रहे हैं लगता है. How is it with you, Salman? We start off, how is it at Telenor?
The lockdown has been lifted, but Telenor is closed till end of July. So we're working from home with all that we've got. To be honest, we've increased our gears. We're working really hard and making sure that everyone stays connected, but doing that while staying at home.
So Telenor has been a very digital savvy company. I've been to your office and I've seen the entire office. But still, मुझे बताएं कि is it easier to cope up with work from home, or you're also facing difficulties?
Well, I wouldn't say it's easy because human touch is really important, to be honest. So whenever you're meeting people, it gets easy. You can portray your point of view, you can talk to them, understand them. But I wouldn't say that it's really hard. I'll say that we need to appreciate the frontline workers, to be honest. Telcos में frontline workers काफी होते हैं जो sites पे जाते हैं, जो technology में होते हैं, जो sales में होते हैं. So they have a really difficult job, to be honest. And they have proved a point in this pandemic. They haven't backed off. At every instance, at every touch point, they made sure that the people were connected. But for us, for brands, for marketing, we are working from home and we are coping up.
Fine, good. We have Ali with us. Hi, Ali. I've just introduced you to the representatives here. और मैंने बड़ा अच्छा सा आपका introduction तैयार किया था. But unfortunately, we didn't have you at that time. So we are just trying to get a little insight from what is happening with Nestle and Unilever and Telenor. So Eman, आप बताएं, how is it going with Nestle? Are you guys still working from home? What has been the brand strategy for now?
Yes, we are working from home, and I think I love working from home because I think am very much more productive. Because office jao to meetings and meetings and meetings, यहाँ पे ये होता है कि I have my space. So I don't know कि कब तक we are going to be working from home, but for now it is working from home, and I think we are all loving it very much.
Okay, I think you're the first one जिसने कहा है कि I'm loving it almost. हर कोई everyone is of the opinion कि it's difficult to work from home.
Yeah, maybe I just don't like interaction with people.
Okay, cool. Namra, how's it going in Karnataka? I think Unilever is off for now at this point in time.
Yeah, so I think similar to other companies, we are also working from home, and it's till further notice. So when everybody feels that the situation is getting under control, that's really when we'll be back. However, having said that, I really agree with Adman's point here because all your CD guys, your sales guys, your supply chain guys are really at the forefront, and they're delivering hygiene products right now, day in day out. Your factory workers, everybody is really pushed to the max and kind of putting their lives at stake to be able to do their duties. So, really hats off to all of those people right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's a difficult time for all of us. Ali, आप बताएं, you were handling marketing for quite, I think, more than 30 years. आपको क्या लगता है? Is it difficult to do marketing things at this point in time? Which brands are आपको क्या लगता है कि brands जो बिल्कुल dark में चली गई हैं, not advertising at this point in time, वो ज़्यादा सही approach है या फिर brands who made an effort to stay or remain visible to the consumers? Which strategy do you think fits in?
Yeah, I think this is something we're going to learn as we go along. Because in our lifetime, we've never experienced a situation like this. I mean, 6 months ago, if anyone had said, we're going to stay locked up at home, we can't go out, we can't meet people, we can't shake hands, we're going to have a mask on our face every time we actually step out somewhere, or if, for some odd reason, someone decides to come over, would have been very hard to believe. But my view is that situations like these present unexpected and not very pleasant opportunities. The thing about brands is you have to keep the brands going. You can't just completely. You can lock down everything else, but you can't lock down a brand. So I look at a lot of brands that are advertising, and they really, the good ones are the ones that are focusing on the brand message, on the brand purpose. This is certainly not the time to be trying to do any kind of revenue generating activities, but really the time to be looking empathetic, looking like a brand that actually means something to people, is there for people, understands what's going on, not acting as if the brand has no clue what's going on in the world. But a complete shutdown of the brand, I don't think that's necessarily the smartest thing to do. So while I know it's hard to spend budgets at a time like this, perhaps it doesn't have to be expensive, but I won't shut it down. And that's just my way of looking at it.
Okay, so guys, we'll start with the drill. We'll just give you 3 minutes each, and you go through your campaign, which have been shortlisted or finalized. So we can start off with Namra. Your campaign is Summer Love, right?
Yeah. So I'll just brief you quickly through you guys through the Cornetto plan. So Cornetto, as the brand is very young, it's very energetic, it's very trendy. and it's one of those brands which is very digitally savvy also. And if you see the Gen Z consumer right now, it's very, very different from the consumers that we are kind of attuned to, or the kind of individuals we've grown up as. It's a very different consumer, not just from the kind of lingo that they use, which is very different from our lingo, but also their take on relationships. It's very, very different. A lot of relationships with the Gen Z consumer are evolving on the online space as opposed to the offline space. Even when it comes to their patterns of consuming digital media and social media, it's very, very different. If you would see the figures of how your content on YouTube and everything is quadrupling over the period of years, you would see that Gen Z has a huge, huge kind of imprint on that space also. So around 40 million of Cornetto's target audience is purely sitting on the digital medium. Hence, it becomes very, very important for us. And when you talk about the digital medium itself, a lot of the target audience is consuming content, whether it be on Netflix or iFlix. So there's what we thought was that a lot of content was being consumed right now, but there was a lot of dearth of native kind of binge-worthy content available for them. And what we did was we started to kind of understand their passion points a lot more. What were they focusing on? The kind of binge-worthy content. What was it really? Their take on modern relationships and how they evolved. How do you kind of take interest in a girl, and what would be your next step? So that kind of understanding of the consumer also was something that we kind of did a detailed kind of social listening into the passion points. And post that, we were able to kind of find a content creator, which was Teely in our case, which was creating a lot of content, very, very small at that point in time in terms of their overall content. It was just 4% of overall content, that their share was only 4% of that. But the kind of virality and views that they were getting organically was close to 30% of overall content during that period of time. So we kind of ventured and co-created and partnered with Teely, and we created a series because Cornetto as a brand, we want to be the most loved snack, and we know that a lot of snacks are consumed while binge eating. So this was a very, very natural kind of affinity for us to be able to kind of create content, be where our Gen Z is, and yet be there with their favorite snack to kind of drive that equity also, because we were also within the content touching upon passion points and things which were very, very insight driven. So we co-created with people. We were able to come up with a Summer Love campaign, which we launched last year around Chandra time. And then we kind of put in, a weekly kind of a campaign. So it lasted over 6 weeks, and there was a continuation. It was a web series where it kind of evolved. And what we saw was there was a lot of natural traction towards this kind of content, because another interesting point with Gen Z is that they don't like too much of branded content. They want to consume things which they feel are, much, much more organic. And you kind of need to subtly get into that space where you're integrating your brand, not very, very overtly. So that's exactly what we did with it. And then if you look at the kind of organic views that we got over that piece passage of time, or the kind of equity scores that ever shot up to our ever highest, was something which gave us a lot of reassurance that when you do something which is so deeply ingrained in consumer insight, not just the content but also the mediums and the overall evolution of the consumer journey, then you tend to you have to hit the nail right and get the right results. That's exactly what happened. And the interesting part was that if you would read the comments on the web series, it was not just in Pakistan, but across the border. A lot of people were just waiting for those episodes to come. So it was a very, very natural traction that we were, and engagement that we were able to drive with our consumer audience. And we gained around 10 million organic views, which is really big considering, it wasn't being pushed from the TV page. And trunk is that a lot of people come onto the video, but 67% of them actually viewed the whole video. That itself is a task and a half. And of course, you have your brand cues all throughout, and the overall storyline is very much attuned to what you want to own as attributes for the brand also. So that's something which kind of gave us a natural push, and we were able to gain 100 bips on brand power, and the Cornetto sales during that period was also pretty significantly high. So I think it just gave, reaffirmed our faith that, firstly, the consumer, you need to really understand because it's a very different breed out there. Words like bored and FOMO, those are very, very normal lingos for them, which we are learning in this day and age to be able to kind of be very close to a consumer. And once you do something which is very much on the space where they are and the mediums that they kind of consume, that's where you can really, kind of create something big. So that's something which was our first take, to create something which is local, native, binge-worthy content in terms of Cornetto Summer Love.
So, Namra, my question is that how long was the duration of this episode? I think there were six.
Yeah, it was one per week, so it was over a duration of 6 weeks.
Yeah, so episode duration.
Around 7 to 10 minutes.
Okay. So, Ali, you've also worked on ice streams. Was only, yeah. So, do you have any question for Namra?
Well, now that you kind of put me on a spot like that. Yeah, I was part of the team that launched Walls in Pakistan. So
Wow,
I
wow.
guess
You're the pioneer.
1995. Yeah, it was yeah,
Wow.
extreme time. And so my first global brand in my career was incidentally Cornetto. And I was just thinking about how, what a long way Cornetto's come from what used to be called the heart of cream. That used to be our line. And our biggest problem being trying to translate it in Urdu. Because you can't say Malai ka dil or Malai wala dil, or it just doesn't sound right. But yeah, no, in terms of how it went from a very hardcore family positioning moments to something which is a lot more indulgence oriented for the youth, which is really the space that Cornell is supposed to have. So it's interesting. I thought the choice of um, tying up with Steely was particularly interesting. Steely is, by name, it's just one of those content vehicles which really kind of, it's like a taser. Suddenly someone comes up and this little buzz to you and actually runs off and leaves everyone else laughing. Um, and very intelligent humor, which is so much nicer than a lot of the stupid slapsticky thing you see everywhere now. So I think it's a very interesting choice. I wasn't sure if a brand would really look at it that way, but well done to these guys. And of course, there's a reason why Nimra is sitting here today as a finalist. So um, I do like the way it's been used, but I think in terms of gelling the brand content with it, there's so much more that can be done. There's so much space and opportunity out there. So I think it just needs to be done consistently for a while.
Yeah.
You had a habit of sometimes giving up too early, and that's just a temptation to have to quit and just continue.
Yeah, oh, very well. So we move on to Shadman. Shadman, you're going to tell us about game. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So as you guys know, in Pakistan, the youth constitutes around 65% of the population. We call them internally the smartphone warriors or the screen generation. Within seconds, they move from screen to screen, and that is one of the reasons the telcos, all of the telcos, they're targeting the youth of Pakistan, Gen Z, as Nimra pointed out. But the problem over here is that most of the telco solutions and offerings, they are undifferentiated. We've reached a saturation point, and that was the key business challenge that we received. And we wanted to establish a strategic differentiator to engage and attract the youth. For that, what we did was we did a deep dive. We looked into the passion points of our youth, and we realized that they have a few passion points, namely sports, cricket, music, food, and then there was a new passion point which was untapped and unheard of, and that was gaming, esports to be specific. Uh, and that is where we got the hook from, that this is something that Telenor can bank upon. and we can lead into a whole ecosystem of a gaming vertical. Very proudly, we were the first ones to do that. And for that, what we did was that we not only focused on gamers, but we did a micro segmentation on them. We realized that even between gamers, and if you look at gamers, they're different sort of gamers. So you'd find the hardcore gamers, they put their heart and soul into it. They're the leaders. They are always looking for hacks. They want the best thing, the best 4G speed. Then you have the casual gamers like myself. I play PUBG all the time. Then you have the data savers. Data savers are the people who want to play, but they don't have data with them, so they play games like Ludo Star. Ludo Star was a major hit. And then, last but not the least, the major segment which usually people miss out, and it's a big segment in Pakistan right now. Those are the developers, the gaming developers. So we have around 7,000 plus gaming developers in Pakistan, and they're earning a good livelihood out of it. So these were the different micro segmentations which we did. And if you look at all of these segmentations, although they're different and unique in their own way, but there's one thing common in them, and that is that they want to win. When I'm playing PUBG, my mom can hear me in her room. I scream like anything. And any gamer, any developer, if you look at them, they want to win. They want to champion it out. That was our consumer insight, and this is where we derived it from. That every gamer, they want to champion their own life and they want to champion their own game. Uh, and this is where we decided that इसमें हमारा role क्या हो सकता है. So we realized we did some research. Overall, gaming in Pakistan 2 3 years back wasn't really looked good upon. अगर आप घर में भी देखते हैं, so my mom she always says that क्या करते हैं पूरे दिन फोन पे गेम ही खेलते हैं ना. Overall, the gamer terminology, it has a connotation. So when someone says that यार ये लड़का gamer है, so that's a very negative connotation. But despite that, the consumers and the TGs we identified, they believed in themselves. They had a zeal. They were passionate, and they still believed that they could make something out of it. What we did was we introduced our brand role into it. So for us, they are the heroes. They are the people with the skill set. What we do is we enable them, we empower them, and this is where big idea comes, which is that apni game banao. So it's their game. They're the heroes. We only empower them, and that's what we do. From here, we landed on our creative expression, and that is play more with 10 or 4G. If you ask about our brand purpose, the brand purpose is that Telenor empowers her Pakistani to do more, be more, achieve more. So this was the perfect sync with that. From here, we went on to identifying how we can make a gaming vertical. So it's not just one campaign, to be honest. If you want to own it, if you want a platform out of it, if you want to make an ecosystem out of it, you need to do a number of different initiatives to attract everyone in the gaming industry. I'll take you through some of the stuff which we've done. First one is DCB, direct carrier billing. So direct carrier billing, for people who don't know what it is, you can purchase games, make in-app purchases through your phone, through your mobile balance. Telenor was the first one to introduce that in Pakistan, and we've been introducing new games, we've been introducing new partnerships, and even other platforms aside from gaming, to be honest, like Netflix. And what you can do is that anytime if you want to make a purchase or anytime you want to download a game which has a cost to it, you can pay through your balance. After that, we had another initiative which was Game Launcher. So Game Launcher was basically a quest for finding a multi-million dollar game. We partnered up with Google. We went online. We went to all the game developers and asked them to submit their entries to us. So what we basically did was we not only helped them through mentorship through international gamers and influencers who provided them key skills, but we also help them monetize those. We also help them design games and market them. So we had around hundreds of applications which we shortlisted. उसमें से we had around 80 finalists who went through 4 rigorous rounds of workshops. From that, we landed at 7 key gaming applications who went from Singapore to the Google's headquarters, and over there they had a final round. So initiatives like that, and then we have Gamebox. Gamebox is Pakistan's first gaming store. So just like you have Play Store, we have Gamebox, which is a gaming store. You can go there. There's a weekly subscription. The first week is free, and after that, it's 20 rupees, and you can download as many games as you want. and play them for free without any ads in them, and it costs you only 20 rupees. So after that, we had Game Fest. The idea of Game Fest was that we wanted to bring together the community. We wanted everyone to be under the same umbrella and know each other and connect with each other. So there was a range of different activations, different competitions which we did. It was 2 months campaign. Started with online games, and then it landed at city qualifiers. So we had around 72 teams, and the winner got away with a $1 million check. Apart from this, then we have gaming service bundles as well. So, for example, we have a weekly bundle which has data with it or calls, minutes with it. With that, we give free MBs for Gamebox as well, or free MBs for PUBG as well. So these were the sort of things which we did, although different initiatives, but the creative expression was integrated. Throughout the initiatives, the creative expression was play more with Telenor 4G. If I briefly talk about the results, they were phenomenal. To be honest, I won't go into the major numbers, but just to give you an idea, the gaming vertical in Telenor's digital products portfolio yields around 75% of the revenue, which is the major revenue contributor for digital apps. The overall brand preference, because we had a differentiated strategy, so our youth, which is segment 5 for us, they started identifying us as a brand that gives them more, that gives them something different. So not only our consideration increased from our OMOs, but also our our own customers, they became loyal to us, and the brand preference increased. Another major concern which happens in telcos is the churn rate, because you can switch from a brand to brand so easily. What we noticed was that because we were providing something more, something different, uh, the youth, they became loyal to us, and the churn rate reduced by two folds. Overall, if you ask about the gamers ARPU, so for us, the gamers ARPU, which is average revenue per user, that increased by 5 times. The data usage increased by 10 times. Just to give you an understanding of why we went with the gaming vertical, why we went with something different and not just an offer. So this was what we did for the gaming vertical, to create an ecosystem, and very proudly, to be honest, we were the first ones, but we've been followed, but not just by our competitors, but other brands like Mountain Dew and Sprite as well. And we're happy to know that the category is growing.
Yeah, so my question was, okay, you've created a niche for yourself. Telenor was I think you guys initiated gaming का पूरा आप लोगों ने एक अपना वो एक बना लिया. And none of the competitors in telcos, I think, followed suit. Or were there any following after, मतलब उस तरह की कोई campaign बनी या
They recently did. Just started with their campaign on gaming. They've partnered up with Mountain Dew. So that was like, I think they're still going on. A month back, I got some news that they're doing something, and I saw some advertisements as well. But it's to be honest, it feels good that you start something, you make a platform out of it, and then your competitors, not just your competitors, but other brands, they follow. So that's an achievement for us, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it was a very big event because taking people to Singapore for the final. Uh, so, yeah. Ali, do you have any questions for Telenor?
Well, I do have something on my mind. But firstly, I'd like to say I'm glad, something that Shadman just mentioned, that they didn't go into yet another bundle offer, which is what we see from every telco, and I can't tell one from the other.
Exactly.
40 ka 40 stocked by something called 50 ka 50. Okay, who's the brand here?
Colors से differentiate करते हैं. लाल, नीला और हरा.
Yeah, it's always आपको मिलेंगे 40 मिनट उसके अलावा 40,000 SMS उसके अलावा 40,000 दिए उसके अलावा 40 वो okay.
All charges.
But but really that's what makes a brand what a brand is, actually gives it life. And since we are talking about marketing to the youth, we're dealing with a very different generation now. And when I say that, I look at these three, and I don't know if they are exactly that generation. But I mean, forget the millennials, the new, completely big backside buggers of the plural, the Gen Z. They've got a mind of their own. They want everything done exactly their way. They have no patience for anyone not agreeing with them, and they want something exciting happening pretty much all the time. So I think Telenor, you know, did a fantastic job getting into that area with very different things. The gaming vertical that he's been talking about, I think is actually brilliant. I do remember years ago, I'm going to sound like an old man when I say that, but we had these gaming centers where, which is the, I don't know, whatever they're called, the interactive, whatever, we made teams and stuff. I do remember the kind of
Ali, your voice is breaking up.
rush. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear. I think it was breaking up.
Can any- okay, okay. Um, so I think that's a great area to sort of get in. And again, the same thing I said. These are better. It needs to be consistent. And I think it's a stroke of luck that with this lockdown and everything. At least this is an activation and a big part of the brand that can still go on. In fact, if anything, it probably will do even more and even better. So that's been done well. My first question to Shabnan was, you said you start screaming. What do you scream when your mother walks up?
Sorry,
What
can
is
you
that?
come again? Like
When
your
you
voice
start,
was breaking.
you said that when you start playing the game, you start screaming until your mother comes in and
Yeah,
actually tells you you're screaming.
so in PUBG, you have like 100 players from different teams. You need to be the winner and kill most of the other teams and be the last one. So हमेशा मैं end में हार जाता हूँ. One way or the other, it doesn't work out for me. Plus, my friends are really good at it. So I start screaming like, "Why is it that I always lose?" Uh, so yeah, that's why.
Okay, well, that was not my serious question though. The real
I'm waiting for the CS one.
so how do you fit your brand purpose into each of these activities, making it absolutely obvious to a consumer that you're still saying exactly the same thing just in a different way.
Yep. So when we talk about a brand purpose, the purpose is that we empower Pakistanis to achieve their dreams. So technically, do more, be more, and achieve more out of their life. And when we talk about, for example, gaming in this instance, so these gamers, this is what they want to do on a professional level and on a casual level, to be honest. What we do is we give them, let's say, we enable them, we give them good 4G speed. We give them direct career billing where they can go out, purchase kits, purchase different in-app purchases, and get a competitive edge over their friends who are on different operators. Uh, and that is empowerment in its real sense. So we are not the heroes in this. The heroes are the gamers. What we do is we enable them, we empower them, and we let them do more, be more, and achieve more with their data connection.
Yeah. Well
Yeah.
done for being at this stage.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Eman. Eman, पहले ही बताएं आपके लिए एक मैसेज आया है. Please smile a little. ये लाइव कमेंट आया, अब आप हमें हंस के दिखा सकती हैं.
I
Okay,
think
sorry. I'll smile more.
Smile more. So Eman,
Sorry,
yeah,
I
so you're
can't hear
going to take
you.
us through your campaign, Nescafe Basement, और मुस्कुराहट के साथ.
Yeah. Okay. Acha. So before I jump into the campaign, I think I'll just set the context. So Nescafe has this really uphill task and challenge to, penetrate into the market, which is tea-led, and more importantly, tea-loving market. So my competition is sitting right there. So the thing is, what is it that resonates with the TG? What is it that really captures their heart, the share of heart, not just the share of throat? So we dig deeper into this iGen and we realized okay, so 98% of the TG Yeah, so 98% of the TG, they follow music, they do everything about music. So but the contrast with which they are, the chances they have to go up there and showcase their talent, that was not there. So I think that was the kickstart for us. And then if I speak about the campaign, I think it's Nescafe stands for being real, being authentic, being passionate, being positive. And I think it really, really, really is there when you look at the campaign and you look at the overall platform. Even the surroundings जो है हमारी, it's like basement, real life people, real life talent. So yes, this season was, I think, one of the best, because we had the biggest lineup. We had 70 plus people join us for this season. We auditioned more than 1,000 people offline and online, and they still continue to give auditions in our Instagram and Facebook inbox. uh, but I think the real catch is how it has given them the opportunity to move forward in their career within music industry. So yeah, so for me, the numbers, the views, and these things, they are really vain to me. Why? Because the more money you put behind them, the more results you get. For me, it was the successes, the talkability of the platform, the talkability of the content, the talkability of my brand. So when I look at it from that point of view, I see Indians sending us love so much. There were like over 100 plus videos. They were sharing their views about every episode. And then, you know, previously in season 5 and season 3 and season 1, we have been acknowledged worldwide by the real artists. So who's that? Um, Rosette tweeted about us. And then there was John Newman. He actually talked about the all girls band. So for this time, I think we really experimented with all kinds of genres. We really gave an opportunity to as many people as we could. So yup, yes, it has resulted. So Nescafe really stands for being youthful and trendy brand, and I think we have seen significant results on this as well. So I'm not going to share the results, but I can tell you it has really moved up our penetration numbers, our usership. So yep, it is paying off. And I think we are moving forward with another season very soon. And yep, that is it for Nescafe Basement. If you have any questions.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Yep.
आपके पास, अभी मैं आपसे वैसे पूछूंगी तो आपके, who are your major competitor or threat? So you won't name them, but obviously there are two giants right there in front of you. Coke Studio हो गया, Pepsi Battle of the Bands हो गया. So what is the differentiating factor among all three? Obviously, Coke, I think season 12 हुआ था उसका भी this year, and this was your fifth season, and बीच में I think Nescafe Basement was quite off for a couple of years, and it was a
Yes.
comeback. I think fourth season से आपका शायद comeback था, if I'm not wrong.
Fifth is
After
the comeback.
yeah, so after a period of good few years. So tell us about it. एक तो ये कि what was the differentiating factor, and how do you say कि how do you compete against them? Yeah, how do you rate against them?
Okay, I think I'll take that as a compliment, because to be honest, I don't think Coke Studio and Pepsi Battle of the Bands are really our competition. Why? Because yes, we have this common ground that is music, but we do not operate in the same format, in the same, so we focus more as a brand. So that is the purpose of the brand: be real, be with anchored into the daily lives, and be authentic. So the whole idea of Basement was ke sab kuch raw hai, sab kuch underground hai, everything is just very real and very Gen Z-ish. So I think while Coke Studio makes music, we make musicians. We give them a kickstart to their career, and they take it to the next level. So I think for me, that is the differentiating point. And I see a lot of people going to Coke Studio and showcasing their talent, and that really makes us feel proud, because I think that is what they want eventually out of being present in Nescafe Basement Studio. So that is the point. Also, I think our content would be another differentiation, because we focus mainly on artists and their originals, and we really really want to give them the opportunity to come up. Yes, we do have the covers, but I think recently, I'm not sure if you've listened to Bol Who and you have listened to Ranjana and Hedriam. They were all, originals, and that is what makes Nescafe stand out. So for me, yes, we make musicians and not just music.
So I think this year you guys did. It was a great comeback, and I think
Okay.
वो few of
Yes.
the numbers वो सबके I think सबको याद होंगे.
Do you have
Ali,
any favorite
so
from this
mine
season?
would be, all girls band was one of my favorite, and I
Oh,
think yeah, और एक महबूबा था if I'm not wrong.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So nostalgia works, right?
Yeah, it does. Ali, do you have any question for Eamon?
Well, I think I'll just sort of extend question you've already asked, Eamon, but in a slightly different way. You are now in an environment, whether you think of them as competition or not, but you've got Coke Studio, you've got Pepsi Battle of the Bands, you've got Cornetto Pop Rock,
Pop
is that the right thing? And then you've got the very interesting one from
strepsils.
Strepsils, the
Yeah.
uh, music genre called but and what I actually liked about them was they came up with something which is very centered on the brand. It was about the show. Um, Nescafe Basement could have picked anything. I mean, in India, I think they have comedians, anything that brings back basement. You could be a comedy seller. Why music in a market that's already been so dominated and so saturated? Why music? Why not anything else that goes with the brand?
Okay, I think so. I'll just start with the core TG. I think Namra has mentioned, and so has Shadman. They're all so. Nescafe is one of the brands that is digitally led since forever, right? Before I joined Nescafe. So why music is because there is 55% of the TG online that resonates with music alone. So yeah, and out of that 55%, 89% follow music religiously. So they are creating content, they are doing all sorts of things that they can do. And moreover, so in hot beverages category, really do not have a lot of room, so they have already covered up on the emotional and rational quadrants, so and very well positioned. So I think for us, music was one of the key passion point apart from cricket. So cricket is already taken. So I think that is, and also because we target ambitious young trendies, that is how we define our TG. So they are all about music, and I think that is the core insight that led us to. And also I think if there is anything that brings people together, apart from that brings people together apart from music, it is coffee. Social connections, connecting over coffee, having a cup of coffee and jamming and all that thing. So I think it really clicked. It is all about creating connections. That is what the brand stands for. So yeah, it was a perfect and natural connection.
Okay, well done for keeping this going. I think I'm someone who went from initially not being very impressed by basement to now kind of liking what I see. So
Okay.
you
That,
are competing in a very hard space. Chai ke sath compete karna in this market. Now,
yes.
chai is very
Yes.
serious. You don't mess with chai. So,
Yes,
uh,
I usually get asked, "Hey, do you like chai or coffee?" And I really have to be diplomat about it. Yeah. Oh, acha.
you're not being diplomatic. You're lying through your teeth for your job. Of course,
No,
you
no,
like
my
it.
boss knows what I like. He knows it very well, if I like coffee or chai.
नहीं तो वो
Well
आपका
done
इंटरव्यू में पूछा
for
था
being on the free sitting here talking about this.
Yeah.
एमन ये आपके जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में होना चाहिए ना आर यू अ टी ड्रिंकर
Yeah, no, I put up in my about me ke I used to be a chai person, but now I prefer coffee. So yeah, that got me the job.
Okay. So I just want to remind everyone that we are live on Effie Pakistan page. You can comment and ask direct questions to the finalists and our guest juror. Ali, आपने इन लोगों से बहुत सारे सवाल पूछ लिया. अब कुछ एक दो सवाल मैं भी आपसे पूछने वाली हूँ. मुझे पता है you've been on the panel for years. What is the cruelest comment that has come across to you so far?
Cruelest.
Yeah, the cruelest.
Well, actually, to be honest, I've been on the panel between the passwords and the FEs, I think about 3 or 4 years now. Before that, I couldn't be on the panel because I
You're
was
breaking.
always,
Your voice is breaking up.
okay. Am I clear now?
Yeah, better.
I was saying I've been on the panel, whether for FEs or for passive awards, for about 3 or 4 years now. Before that, I couldn't be for a simple technical reason because I was either chairman pass or I was chairman awards committee. The pass award being my baby, but I think probably not as a judge, but being associated with the award so much. I think the cruelest comment I got was when someone asked, how many times my campaigns had been nominated. And I said, well, every year. I said, and how many times have you won? And I said, actually, none. And that person just kind of went quiet for a second and said, well, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, huh? And that comment stung me so bad. Like, what? So yeah, and it's always weird and awkward for me to tell people that I won an award just once. That's it, just once. And held on to it like like it was the Oscar. Until obviously I left the corporate world and couldn't take the award with me. So I thought that was a little bit cruel. Other than that, I think I was watching the show earlier with Ali Rizvi on it, and one comment that he made is exactly one that I got as well, which was I think for last year. क्या आप भी हैं जूरी में क्या सारी दुनिया है जूरी तो रह नहीं गया आप घर से किसी और को भी ले आते and yeah it felt like my God they ran out of people so they just put me in there so that was but my comeback wasn't bad I said आप नहीं है जूरी में I said कमाल हो गया सबको लेने के बावजूद आपको भेज नहीं दिया so that was probably one of those cruel ones but yes I have been harassed and tortured for by brands who didn't win. I have had members threaten to leave PASS because they thought them winning or them not winning was actually wrong and then they deserved it and something went wrong and this is a country jahan Hindi is a word that comes out very very fast no matter what you do. I understand that even more now because I now run a TV ratings company and you can imagine that's one business where no channel is happy whether they're number 1 or number 12. So, but yeah, I think that's just that just comes with the territory. I, I love cruel comments, and my only request is make them really cruel. Don't leave them halfway. Make it fun.
अच्छा तो मुझे बताएं what was the fun part on being the jury?
What was the fun part of?
What is the fun part on being on the jury?
Oh, well, I think the real fun part is now because I'm not part of the corporate world anymore. This is, I guess, the place where I still stay connected, but not just what's happening, but also people who make those things happen. And I'm just, I think last year, for instance, I was just very, very happy to have met the people who were in my group. It's a very diverse crowd, but some very smart people there. People who are doing things with a difference, and that does make it a fair bit of fun. And then I come in with my full grandfather exposure to the world, and with my 25 years, I make it sound as if I was around for like 100 years. And I think just those conversations and
Ali, we can't hear you. Okay, guys, I think we've lost Ali for a couple of minutes. So, मुझे बताएं, Namra, you did a couple of songs also, if I remember correctly. Uh, Cornetto pop rock, right? And I think कुछ celebrities भी थे. I remember Komal Rizvi का एक गाना somehow, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
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 So building the brand forward, उसी तरह से, did all that help you bring it down to the Gen Z?
Yeah.
कि हाँ, अब ये है इसका final, this is the actual target audience.
Yeah. So I think Gen Z as a consumer, firstly, it's evolving really quickly also. So you need to really keep up with the pace as to how your consumer is evolving, how their, kind of passion points and everything is evolving. So, Cornetto pop rock, as Eamon was also talking about, music has been a very, very important bearing for our consumer. However, there are a lot of facets to it also. So one is, of course, music. The other one is also, entertainment. And with Netflix and iFlixes of the world coming in, and also filter copy. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of it, but that's an Indian kind of a content page similar to, Artilis and all these there. So content is also something which is pretty much on the rise. And if somebody would know these Gen Zs really well, they would know that their attention span is also really like dropping now. So, previously, if it would be maybe 12 to 15 seconds, they'd see the complete TVC. Now they might just look at it for 5 seconds. And if they feel it's worthy enough to be watched, they'll watch it. But if they don't, then they'll just leave it. So I think you're right. The whole heritage that we've kind of built with Cornetto pop rock and all the affinitive mediums, that's something which has kind of, over the period of time, helped Cornetto's equity kind of go up within the core target audience. And that's also what we want to continue with, and we want to keep playing the game and be where they are, and kind of give them the content. So right now binge watching is something which is really going up amongst Gen Z. Even within that, with all the lockdown situation, we've been kind of keeping track of what's happening within the Gen Z lives over the past 2 to 3 months, and we've seen that digital consumption for them has gone up by 30% just during this duration of lockdown. So I think that's something which is still going to be on the radar, ensuring that we are there where the consumer is and kind of tapping on to all the opportunities that we have to kind of interface with the consumer. And it's not just about the mediums that you use or maybe the content. For instance, I say that I want to develop some binge worthy sorry native content. It's also about within that content, what are you doing? Because a lot of it's actually quite funny at the office, because what we do is we do a Gen Z vocabulary kind of a quiz, and we usually put our bosses to the task. The senior you are, the more difficult the quiz gets for you. And then we ask them question, okay, what does this mean? What do you think when Gen Z say this? What do they mean? And then a lot of people do struggle. So it's also very important not just to see the kind of passion points that they have, and kind of ensure that your brand stays fresh and keeping up with the trends, but also what you're communicating in that, and are you speaking their lingo, are you being young, and are you kind of tapping them in the way they want to consume that kind of content. So I completely agree. Pop rock was an instrumental thing which kind of helped us, build our affinity with the Gen Zs, and with the passage of time, we are just taking it up a notch.
Cool. अच्छा मुझे बताएं, what gets you guys motivated? Shadman, quick one. What keeps you motivated?
Sorry, my mic was on mute. What keeps me motivated? So to be honest, the telco industry, it's cutthroat competition. For us, every day is a new day. Every day we get new tasks, and every day we argue and fight within our teams. It's normal for us. Just being in the telco industry and working for Telenor and making sure that we socially connect our TG, the youth of Pakistan, keeps us motivated. And one other aspect in this is that, like Nimra pointed out, their attention spans and their mind space, it's so cluttered. No matter what you do, they won't even notice it if they don't like it. And that is one of our key motivations. Whatever we do, we try to disrupt. We try to disrupt the normal content behavior and come up with something new every time. And that's how we are going, and we are one of the most preferred and most loved brands in Pakistan.
So मुझे पता है bosses motivated नहीं रखते हैं इसका मतलब है.
ये bosses को रखना पड़ता है, to be honest, because we work day and night, so उनको रखना पड़ता है. And to be honest, we don't have that culture. We don't have the boss culture. We don't have the yes
और
sir
देखो
culture.
आपको बोलेगा कि don't I keep you motivated all the time? Emma, आप बताओ what keeps you motivated? Going.
Chai? No, that's kidding. I think di- digital keeps me motivated. Why? Because I have a background of digital since the very beginning of my career. So I really like how digital is evolving and how my thinking is evolving with it. So I think yes, and I'm really happy that Nescafe is a very digital-led brand, and that really keeps me motivated. So yeah.
Yeah. Namra, you tell us what is.
I think right now, because ice cream, as a business, it's all about sharing happiness, not just with Cornetto, but Waltz is a hard brand. And I think, honestly, right now, there's nothing more than this nation needs than some ray of hope and some happiness. So right now, something which is really keeping us going is that we are engaging a lot with the frontliners. And, whether it's not just the doctors or the police force which is there, or, even the uh, guards, safe security guards, janitorial staff at hospitals. So what we are trying to do is in our very, very small way, we are just reaching out to them and kind of making their day special. And we did a few activities. A lot of these police wala stand under scorching sun with no shades. So we are trying a little bit to kind of Walls as a brand give them those shelters and kind of give them ice cream. It's not a big thing, but it just adds, brings some smile to their day. So right now, I think during these days, that's something which is really motivating me every day for that matter. That just, kind of sharing happiness. And since we are in this business, we kind of have the ability to, and why not?
And I think I saw one of your campaigns, stay within these walls, right? I think these were the COVID times, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong.
it's essential. It's essential for everybody to kind of stay within these walls and kind of create those happy moments with your family, but just stay within these walls and for Pakistan and for everybody, just stay safe.
And for all three of you, the best medium is digital. Yeah. So
Without a
one
doubt.
thing, yeah. So one thing which was common among all three of you, of the brands, was either you guys were focusing to millennials or Gen Z for that matter, and digital works for you. Ali, आप बताएं what keeps you motivated?
Ah, just about everything. Just seeing how new content actually develops. I also do brand training, and that's something that really keeps me going. I think if anyone hasn't noticed, but you will, I love to talk. So I think training is absolutely perfect for me. The the screen becomes my oyster. I can say what the hell I want, etc. Um, but it's really fun to talk to younger marketers, particularly because my career went from a multinational with very set guidelines, always dealing with the region. Loved the way it was with the region, and what I sometimes did with the region, I really loved thinking about. But then going from there to to Pakistani organizations, where no one told me what I had to do, and so I had absolute liberty to sort of create my own strategy and stuff. And that's what makes it a lot more fun to talk to people about. And that's why one of the things I did want to say to all three of them was, I mean, I know you guys are all working with multinationals, and you have rules, etc., that you have to follow. But these are extraordinary times, and extraordinary times require extraordinary measures. And I'm quite sure you will all be allowed to use a little bit of flexibility in doing what you have to do. Look at Nike and them coming out with a message saying, "For once, don't do it." And that's well, not with regards to the pandemic, but because of Black Lives Matter. Um, it's a very interesting play on your own brand purpose, trying to make that fit. And as I was saying, that Gen Z, these guys are very clear in saying, if you want to say like we're with you and we're here for you and everything's about you, then well, walk the talk. Um, Show me that you care about the things that I care about, and that's how the Kaepernick campaign came in. Forceful statement. That's how Ben and Jerry's. I mean, Unilever, one of the most conservative companies in the world, but Ben and Jerry has just been so aggressive and so forward looking in the sense that they actually picked a little fight with the U.S. president, and no one's doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. Let's be clear. What commercial marketeers? We don't do things out of the goodness of our hearts. I mean, after 25 years, I started checking: do I still have a heart anymore? My salvation is gone. I have lied to people so much. But um, we do it because it works with our consumer who keeps evolving. God knows what's going to come after Gen Z. I don't even want to know. But just this beast that we're dealing with now, and I love this beast because they keep us on our toes, on our feet. When I look at little girls like Greta and stuff who are really packing a punch to world leaders, it's a fantastic generation to deal with. And so while an unpleasant opportunity nevertheless, the guys, this is the time to flex your muscles a little bit. This is when you can turn around to your regions and your centers and say, well, our situation requires us to do something a little bit different. And that will be the fun part of it. And that'll help you beat that whole COVID depression as well.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the messages Ali would say for all three of you. And Ali, aapse, because your connection was not, I think.
Yeah, sorry, I was oscillating between two Wi-Fi's. I think that.
So मुझे सिर्फ ये बतावें because I think मुझे वैसे आंसर पता है इसका. What was the painful part of being on the jury? और मैं अपना जवाब आखिर में बताऊंगी कि अली की तरफ से क्या होना चाहिए था.
Well, I'll be very honest and say the fact that sessions were supposed to start at 9 in the morning, my God, that was the hardest part. That was your answer, wasn't it, Afshin?
Yeah. Yes.
I am.
So what's about now?
Morning person. I think Nimra will probably understand. I don't know. Does Unilever still start at 7:30 every day now? I can't remember the last time I was in that office at 8:30.
No.
Oh, no. And my rule is very, very simple. Until I've had my first cup of coffee, and yes, Iman, I'm a coffee drinker. Until then, my team knew there is no way in hell they can come to me with anything. Once said, never happen again. So yeah, with Afshin calling me every 2 minutes, the hardest part of being on the jury. Yeah. Next time, let's just start at 11 or something. Make it easier.
Acha. Okay, guys, we'll just take. I think we're almost done. You guys have 1 minute each to tell us why do you think you should be a winner in this category. Okay. So if Telenor thinks that Telenor should be a winner, 1 minute में आपको बताना है why should you be a winner. Okay, and I'll just start my stopwatch.
No pressure.
Your time starts now, Shadman.
So to be honest, we are in a saturated industry, and if you look at our competitors, we have a new dream, we have Tum Hi To Ho, we have Duniya Ko Bata Do, but still the Gen Z and the youth of Pakistan, they felt unheard. We heard them out, we took out the main passion point, and we created a win-win situation for them, for us, the brand and for the Gen Z of Pakistan.
That was quick. Namra, you are next.
Yeah. So I think Cornetto as a brand, I think it's one of the most loved snacks. And what we did was something very interesting, which was very, very deeply rooted in consumer insight. We were able to create a moment because, a lot of Gen Z consume snacks while binge watching, either Netflix or social media while consuming that. So we were able to take an occasion, a moment in the lives of Gen Z, kind of give them the kind of content which was really centered around Cornetto being their most loved brand, and also integrating it in a way which was very 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 normal for the consumer in terms of their relationships. The passion points that we picked up were completely based on their real life situations. A lot of these Gen Z now actually do not even meet face to face. The first time a couple interacts is in an offline or online kind of a situation where they kind of DM a person sliding into an Insta. We kind of took the lingo of these Gen Zs and kind of see how their relationship was evolving, and did that to our benefit by creating a content which was completely about summer love. It was completely about how these the relationships form and how they kind of mature over that span of time. So we were able to capture very important passion points within the consumer's life, and we were able to kind of bring them together in a very interesting way. Digital is a key medium, which was the center stage of everything. However, we did something very exciting because TV, is a mass medium. So we were able to do TV syncing, which means that whenever there was an ad served on TV which was related to any snack, whether it be chips or biscuits or any snack in the category, at the same time the Gen Z would be served an ad above of this TV Cornetto Love. So we created a lot of opportunities to ensure that wherever the consumer is, we come up with very, very definitive content for them. And this way, we were able to see, how we got into the hearts of the consumer through the results that we got. Thank you.
This was more than a minute. Namra, आप जीत गई हैं. Okay, Eamon, you are next.
Okay, I think I'll give you two reasons. One, I think we have put consumer at the very heart of our campaign. So they are there. We do not just kickstart their day, we also kickstart their careers. They are open to now more opportunities. Secondly, I think we need to win because, music is something that is going to stay with you for a lifetime. You can listen to it when you're sad. So there's all sorts of genres for you to relate to. So I feel that we have really anchored into their lives, not just our product but also with the brand love. So yeah.
So this was just a brand pitch from all three of you. We are still not announcing the winners yet. So for that, you will have to stay tuned to all the updates on Effie Pakistan's social media pages. We've got a couple of questions. Okay, so
Well, there's an interesting question from Hamza.
yeah,
Says,
that's
very curious. Gen Z really drink coffee over music.
how do you differentiate one season from another to
Yeah,
make
I
content?
for the last bit because I thought that was a. Hamza's being a little bit naughty right now, but wants to know if
How do you differentiate one season from another to make the content unique, and how do you engineer an IMC around it? That's for
Okay.
Eamon.
I think I'll have to, make a whole deck around it, but I'll just say how we make it unique is I think it's the consumer pull. We have a lot of it. There's so much demand for this platform. Why? Because it's so unique in nature, and also unique from one season to another. I think for the credit goes to Zulfi alone because he really puts his heart and mind into creating the whole story, recruiting the talent, and then eventually bringing it to life. So yes, he really works hard and he makes it a point. So initially we did all girls band. This time we brought in Hadia, an 8-year-old from a very a tailor's daughter, and how she just went to places after basement. So I think that is, and how we make a part of IMC. So Nescafe plays on three things. We convince the consumer with the trendy imagery. So that is one key pillar for us. So I think Nescafe Basement fits in very well. Okay, it's the trendy imagery that makes, and then obviously a cup of coffee and music. So that is what Gen Z wants, and they are inherently lazy. I think it's the best option. उनके पास कोई नहीं है, coffee का mug उठाओ or music, you know. So I think that is how we bring it together. Other than just waking up and bonding with them over a cup of coffee, over music.
So I guess that's it. नेस्कैफे बेसमेंट की बहुत सारे लोगों ने तारीफ की है, लेकिन हो सकता है कुछ इसमें आपके रिश्तेदार ही हुए मन।
नहीं, मेरे रिश्तेदार नहीं। For sure.
मुझे Ali, my last question to you. Throughout your career, have you encountered any marketing mistake? And if so, how did you recover from it?
I didn't encounter a mistake. In fact, not even encounter. I have committed to. Um, as early as probably my third year with Unilever onwards, I launched a completely duff and useless product called House Ad. It did really well with cricket, but it tasted like, I can't use the word, but it tasted like.
Sorry, I used to have it. I love it as a consumer. Really jogs me down my memory lane, but I used to love it as a kid.
Okay, so I was just trying to be very modest about this. No, I thought it was a pretty good product. But no, I think my mistake really in that case was I jumped into a flavor without any kind of research. It was a great flavor, but for a very niche palate. Nimra was clearly one of those who liked it, but there weren't very many like her, unfortunately. So we had to do lots of consumer promotions to get rid of the damn thing. But I think the one that I always talk about, and in fact, I've also made presentations on it. Was when I was at HPL and we were trying to launch our technology banking services, and my first attempt went horribly wrong only because I had made the decision that the execution will be very tech looking. And the moment you decide the execution before the concept, it's gone wrong. And I still remember there was some compliance issue, and so we're sitting in the Mancom, and my colleague who was a compliance group head, he's trying to say, no, we can't say this or we can't say that. And suddenly he said, Casey, the issue is, agar kisi ko ye ad samajh aa gaya, I thought, oh my God, agar kisi ko ad samajh aa gaya, is it that bad? But the recovery was brilliant. That's what led to the Mr. Bean campaign. And that has always been very memorable for me. Made it very simple for everyone to understand. It went on for a few seasons until I left the HPL. It went well for London. I don't know what this guy said. But that's a recovery past fairly big mistake that I do like to not only think about, but to talk to people about. And anyone who hasn't made mistakes is either, not really trying hard enough or listening to everything the boss is saying and doing just that. And unfortunately, at the end of your career, but you may not have learned everything, and you won't have something like your grandchildren. Not that I love any of my grandchildren, but as a marketer, that's what I love about our job. That's what is so fascinating. We can make a mistake that doesn't kill anyone. Imagine if you were a surgeon, you don't make mistakes. But we actually have, the luxury of doing that, and that's how we learn.
So these were the three finalists. And do you have any message for the campaigns or the brands that didn't reached up to this level or were not among the finalists?
Well, I'm not going to talk about the ones that aren't represented here, except to say, well done. You were there in the run, and you were being considered. the end of the day, it's the three or the four who sit here, waiting to find out if they are the first among equals or not. Um, but I think all three of these, and with the activities they've done, like I said, basement for me was an acquired taste, but I love the fact that they Nestle stuck with it. Nescafe stuck with the idea, didn't let it go, built it, and I now understand what they were really about. I loved what Eamon said about them not creating music but creating musicians. It's really being an enabler, which is a very good thing to do. Um, Cornetto, I guess uh, I'm just biased because it used to be my brand, but no, Namra, you get no extra points for that at all. Uh, um, but to see how Cornetto has evolved as a brand in terms of its purpose, in terms of the way it now talks to people, it's Cornetto's been like Madonna. It, it doesn't matter how old she is, she just keeps recreating herself, to fit the new user or the new consumer, and that's what Spinetto's done very cleverly, very intelligently. Uh, Telenor, I think what I've always loved about that brand is that it's always surprised me uh, in a complete red ocean. Um, it was lovely to see Telenor come out as a real blue ocean brand, someone that understood what creating a brand is. But at the end of the day, your product and your functional attributes will mean absolutely nothing to your consumer. It's like that guy, famous guy, the guy who did that whole why what thing. He said people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. That's what brands are really about. Telenor has constantly worked at it. It was always the first, in terms of new initiatives, uh, and really putting all these things together for the youth, and not just worrying about the bundles with the SMS 234 hash 21234 hash or whatever you get for 5 SMSs free. So it's looking very good. I would still say, Ban, I think just keep thinking about how you make that core brand message or brand essence at the center of everything you do, even the smallest activity, because that is what always makes it bigger and makes it more sensible. But all three of you, really well done. You should be really proud. Um, Take this back and celebrate with your companies. But one of you will get that gold, and the others will still get what? Silver and bronze and something like that? Is that what happened with Sheem? Yeah, it's not like the old fashioned.
हाँ, मैं ही बोल रही हूँ कि कुछ नहीं देश के लिए yeah.
And very, very well done. And I'm really, really happy to have met the three of you.
Yeah. So, fantastic job, guys. I think wonderful and amazing stories of the brands. With that, we end our fourth session with the finalists. Thank you all, Namra, Shadman, Ayman, and Ali, for being here on the show. Wish you all three a happy award winning. Stay safe, stay connected, and stay tuned to our social media pages for more updates. And we'll see you a little, I think, kuch dinon mein. We are just working out a few options on how we are going to go about our awards show. Let's see. We're going to update you, inshallah, next week on our social media platforms. Do you have any questions to Ali? वैसे अली मैं यही बोल रही थी अली को बोलने का बहुत शौक है तो वो खुद ही सारी बातें कर लेंगे लेकिन आपको फिर भी कोई सवाल है तो आप
No, I think मेरा एक सवाल था which I think I got an answer to it because Ali, you're still very famous in the Unilever corridors and you are still talked about as a very fine marketer. And I've heard your name even though I wasn't there when you were at Unilever. So I just wanted to know from your perspective. I mean, we've heard about the marketing mistakes, but what's been your finest campaign in marketing? I know you mentioned Mr. Bean a bit. That could be one of it. But what's one of those campaigns which has given you immense satisfaction in terms of, okay, you were able to land what you wanted to, and yet you were able to kind of contribute overall in terms of a purpose to this society? So is there anything that, comes to your mind in terms of your own work?
Um, okay, well, there is one, and it's a bit hard to talk about that because then I think the other two might think I really am biased. Because one campaign that I thought was weirdly over effective was a Cornetto campaign in Sri Lanka when I was posted there, and we were launching a Cornetto Cup. Uh, and in Sri Lanka, the local dessert, they didn't really have local desserts. It was, they just have yogurt we call curd with kitul treacle, which is the honey. But just the way that that story came out, and I'm not going to go into what the story was, but not only did it establish that the new offering really well uh, and created a certain personality for Cornetto, but one of the problems we were facing in Sri Lanka was being perceived as a foreigner company that didn't care about the locals at all. And I have never seen a campaign meet three objectives because you don't even try to do that. You just try and hit one. And this one did. And it not only made life great for Cornetto, it just changed so much for Walls as a whole, and helped us really, start to claw into Elephant House, which was a local leader there, a lot like Polka. And that and the way that story developed, and in fact that is also part of a presentation that I sometimes make, and who knows, maybe I'll get a chance to do that. But it was absolutely fantastic how it happened, and what it was able to achieve, and that goes all the way back to the year 2000. So yeah, something that was done 20 years ago. That, yeah, I think is a story I love to tell. Well, I love to tell a lot of stories anyway, but this one I really love to tell.
No, I love it. I'll Google up more for this or get in touch with you for more details because it seems very, very exciting.
It certainly was. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us, and keep safe, keep connected, and stay connected on our social media pages. And hope to see you all in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you
Bye.
for joining, guys.
Lovely meeting you. Thank you. Bye.